Hey guys, Mr. Backerwork here. In this video, we're going to look at using a problem-solving plan. So we're going to start building our problem-solving plan here. So step number one is going to be to read the problem. So you want to read the problem carefully, and you want to try to figure out what it is that they're really asking you to find. Now in step number two, we're going to identify and organize our relevant information. So you'll want to write down the information that they give you. You want to write down what you already know, but then you're also going to want to figure out what it is that they're asking you to find. And anytime there's a missing set of information or a missing piece of information, that's where we're going to start assigning these variables to unknown values. For step number three, we are going to set up the problem. So it's going to be taking all of that information that we just identified and organized and trying to write out some sort of mathematical equation that we're going to be able to go through and solve. Now, step number four is actually solving the problem, and as part of solving the problem, you want to check your solution to make sure that it makes sense in the context of the problem. And then lastly, for step number five, we want to make sure that we're providing a word answer. As we're going through and using this problem-solving plan, a lot of the times we're going to be working with word problems. And in word problems, our answer always has some sort of context to it. So we want to make sure that we're providing a word answer in the context of our problem. So in this first example, we've got a word problem, and it says that a group of people go to a play. Adult tickets cost $8, and tickets for children under 12 years of age cost $5. Now we know for sure that there are 4 children under 12 that went to the play, and we know that the group spends $44 for all of their tickets. We want to figure out how many adults attended the play. So step number one is making sure that we read through the problem carefully and that we're able to identify what it's asking us for. Usually what it's asking for is going to come from that very last sentence in the word problem. So we're looking at how many adults attended the play. That's what we're trying to figure out. Now, moving to step number two, we're supposed to identify and organize our relevant information. We're going to write out the information, and we're also going to assign variables to any unknown pieces of information. So we know that adult tickets cost $8. So adult tickets are $8. We also know that children's tickets are $5. Now there's a total of 4 children, and the group spent $44 in total. Now what we don't know is how many adults attended. So I'm going to use A, little a, to represent the number of adults. So now in step three, what we're going to do is try to take all of that information and write out a mathematical equation. So we said that adult tickets cost $8, but we don't know how many adults are attending. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that $8 and I'm going to multiply it by our unknown value A for adults. Now we also know that children's tickets cost $5. So we've got $5 in there, and we know that there were 4 children. So I'm going to multiply the 5 by 4. Now the total cost was $44. When we total things, that means that we're adding these up and it's equaling that $44 amount. So this is the equation that we're going to go through and use to try to figure out how many adults attended. So step number 4, we're actually going to solve the problem. So there's a little bit of simplifying that we can do in this equation right now. 5 times 4, we should be able to figure that out. That's 20. So we've got 8a plus 20 equals 44. Now we're just going to do guess and check to try to solve this equation. We're going to guess different a values. We're going to plug them in, and we're going to hope to get 44 as our answer. So if I try an a value of 1, that would mean that I'm going to plug 1 in for a. So I would get 8 times 1 plus 20, and I'm hoping that's going to equal 44. Well, 8 times 1 is 8, and if I add 20 to 8, I get 28. We were trying to get to 44, and that only got us to 28, so we need a bigger a value. So if we try an a value of 2, then we would go 8 times 2 plus 20, and we're hoping that gets us to 44. Well, 8 times 2 is 16, and if I add 20 to 16, we get 36. So we're still just a little bit too small. So the next a value I'm going to test out is going to be an a value of 3. So if I take 8 times 3 plus 20, I'm hoping that's going to give me 44. 8 times 3 should give us 24, and if I add 24 to 20, I get 44. So an a value of 3 worked there. Now that we've got this a value of 3, we should think to ourselves, does it make sense? Does that seem reasonable that 3 adults would go to the play with 4 children? And I think that makes sense. Something that wouldn't make any sense would be like 30 adults. There's no way that 30 adults are going to be able to go to the play and it only costs $44. So that's not a reasonable answer. But 3 adults is a pretty reasonable answer. Now for step number 5, we're supposed to take that a value of 3 that we just got, and we're supposed to provide a word answer that gives us some context for the problem. At the very beginning, we said we were trying to figure out how many adults attended the play. So that a value of 3 really means something to us. That a value of 3 means that 3 adults attended the play. So I'm going to write that out as my word answer. So here we're going to run through another example of using those 5 problem-solving steps to help us solve a word problem. So you've saved $165 and you're going to buy a new gaming system, and it costs $300. Now your plan is to save $15 each week, and you want to know how many weeks it's going to take you to save up to buy this gaming system. So step number 1 asks you to identify what it is that we're trying to figure out, and it's how many weeks will you need to save in order to be able to afford the gaming system. Step number 2 says look for your relevant information. Now you already have $165, and you know that the gaming system costs $300. Those are going to be important values. And we know that you're going to save $15 each week. What we don't know is how many weeks you need to save for yet. That's what we're trying to figure out. So I'm going to use the variable W to represent the number of weeks. Now in step number 3, we're supposed to take that important information and try to write out an equation that we're going to be able to solve. So we know that you've already saved $165, but you're going to be adding more money to that as you're saving. And you're going to be adding $15 every single week. So what we're going to do is we're going to add 15 times W. That means $15 per week. And in order to be able to buy this gaming system, you need to have a total of $300. So when you add these values together, hopefully you end up with $300. Step number 4, we're going to do some guess and check to try to get ourselves an answer. And I'm going to start by guessing a W value of 5. So if I take 165 plus 15 times 5, I'm hoping to get 300 as my answer. Well, 15 times 5 is 75, and 165 plus 75 only gets me $240. So I need a bigger number of weeks. So if we guess, let's raise this to maybe 7. So I'd go 165 plus 15 times 7, and we're hoping that gets us to 300. Well, 15 times 7 is 105, and if I add 165 to 105, I'm going to end up getting 270. Now, I can see that I'm going to need $30 more. And if I'm saving $15 per week, $30 is going to be 2 weeks. So we just tested out a W value of 7. I'm going to do 2 more than that. So I'm going to do a W value of 9. So I'm going to go $165 plus 15 times 9, and hopefully that's going to get me to $300. 15 times 9 is 135, and if I add 135 to 165, I get 300, which is exactly what we were trying to get. So we know that this W value must be 9. So now in step 5, we need to take that W value of 9 and turn it into a word answer. So we are trying to figure out how many weeks you would need to save for in order to be able to buy this new gaming system. So my word answer is going to be that you need to save money for 9 weeks. The last thing I want to talk about are some formulas. And a formula is an equation that relates two or more quantities together. And I'm going to give you a list of some commonly used formulas. This first one is a temperature formula. It says C equals 5/9 times F minus 32. In this formula, F stands for degrees Fahrenheit and C stands for degrees Celsius. So if you know the Fahrenheit temperature, you can plug that number in for F and you can solve to figure out what the Celsius temperature is. The next formula is for simple interest, and it says I equals P times R times T. I stands for the amount of money that you earn in interest. P is the principal amount, which means the amount of money that you start with. R is your interest rate. Now, typically interest rates are given to you as percentages, but in order to use them in this formula, we need to convert them over into decimals. And T stands for the time that you invest the money, and we measure that in years. The next one we've got is for distance traveled, and it says D equals R times T. D stands for the distance traveled, R stands for your rate or your speed, and T stands for your time. And then the last one we've got is profit. So we've got P equals I minus E. P stands for the profit amount, I stands for your income, the amount of money that you're bringing in, and E stands for your expenses, so the amount of money that you're spending. That's going to be it for this video. Thanks for watching.